Hello and welcome to Business Morning. I am Bisi Adebayo. Oil prices are higher this morning, and that's after OPEC and its allies agreed to cut production by 9.7 million barrels per day. And the deal, which was finalized on Sunday after marathon discussions that spanned 4 days, is the single largest output cut in history. U.S. crude rose 3.16% to trade at $23.48 per barrel, and that was in early trade. And of course, international benchmark crude, Brent crude, gained 2.22% to $32.18 per barrel, and that was also in early trade. It's actually trading about $31 per barrel now. Now, the group known as OPEC Plus initially proposed cutting production by 10 million barrels per day, amounting to some 10% of global oil supply on Thursday, but Mexico opposed the amount it was being asked to cut, holding up the final deal. Under the new agreement now, Mexico will cut 100,000 barrels per day instead of its initial allocation of 400,000 barrels per day. Meanwhile, the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Sylva, is optimistic that the agreed 10 million barrels per day cut by OPEC and its allies will shore up crude oil prices, even as COVID-19 pandemic has affected demand in the market. Mr. Sylva, in an exclusive interview with Channels Television, says the rebased budget benchmark price of $30 per barrel and production of 1.7 million barrels is to ensure that the cut will not have an effect on the 2020 budget if the condensate production is added to the overall output from the country. Let's take a listen.
We tried to see if we can get a production cut from the supply side since the demand side was collapsing. But unfortunately, we couldn't get a consensus. Mexico had some issues, so we closed the day on the condition that Mexico was going to come on board. So during these 72 hours, they've been able to strike a deal, and we came back in this meeting today to finalize and concretize the deal. 10 million barrels cut was agreed, but it was conditional because Mexico had some issues agreeing to it. But today we have been able to get Mexico on board. Mexico agreed to cut 100,000 barrels, and the U.S. also agreed to support Mexico with the balance 300,000 barrels. So we were able to achieve the 10 million barrels cut as proposed. Everybody signed on. You know, OPEC is, we base our conclusions on consensus, and everybody is on board, including Mexico, including South Sudan. Every member and member of OPEC Plus is on board with this decision. Nigerians should get the benefit of the upside of the low prices. So we introduced this price modulation, which meant that when prices go up, we are also going to see some increase in prices. So definitely, this has also marked the era as the end of the subsidy era for us, which is good, which is a good thing for Nigeria. We are expecting a price rebound of up to $15 in the long run. We expect that this is going to show prices because right now we were already below the rebased price benchmark. We rebased the budget to $30 per barrel, but a week after that, the oil prices went below 20. But this is going to ensure that oil prices are going to stay above our rebased benchmark of $30. And we also believe that the cut is not going to make any difference because we rebased our budget production benchmark to 1.7 million barrels. And with this cut, we will still be able to make that benchmark when you add our condensate production. This will amount to 417,000 barrels cut for Nigeria between May and June. And from July to December, our cut will reduce to 334,000 barrels. And from January next year, our cut will reduce to 250,000 barrels up till April 2022. This is an emergency measure because, you know, COVID-19, we hope, is not going to stay with us forever. Once COVID-19 goes, we believe that demand will come back up again, and then, of course, our production is expected to also improve. right now, what has happened to the market is that there was a depression in demand because you know that airlines are not flying. I mean, your roads are empty, so there's no demand for the product. So we had to react this way. But when demand do come back after COVID-19, the complexion of everything will change. I think this is likely to be the lowest we will go because you also understand that, I mean, going beyond this will be almost an impossibility for all OPEC and non-OPEC countries because this is the deepest we've gone so far.